Hi there, guys. So today, let's talk about Steph Curry and the moon landing. So Steph Curry has obviously done his research. It's one of those. The moon landing is one of those things where the more you look into it, the more you realize that it was fake. The more you research, the more you learn about it, the more you watch whatever evidence NASA has given us to the moon landing, the more you realize it was all just a lie. So let's watch a video on Steph Curry.
One small step for man, excuse me, let me just read this off here, and one giant lie for mankind. Steph Curry telling the Ringer's Winging It podcast that he doesn't believe we ever landed on the moon. NASA has since offered to show proof of the moon landing in 1969 to the two-time NBA MVP. Curry addressed all of the reaction to the comments saying this: I've got a lot of interesting feedback from some ex-NASA astronauts that I'm planning on having a conversation with. Curry telling that to reporters, according to The Athletic. So some good is going to come out of this for sure. Max.
Yep.
Talk to me.
I don't think this is funny, actually. Like, we can laugh at it, but I don't think it's funny. Steph Curry has college, 3 years of college.
Okay, so he has 3 years of college. So you think it's funny that he thinks the moon landing is fake because college textbooks and professors will say, man has been to the moon. Not once, but several times.
Steph Curry's a role model. Kids look up to Steph Curry.
Yes, kids look up to Steph Curry. And this is why it's dangerous for the elites, is because when you have a role model like this, somebody that many people look up to, when a role model like this says, yeah, the moon landings were fake, then all of a sudden lots of people look at Steph Curry. And yeah, you have lots of people that go, oh, he's crazy, he's just a conspiracy theorist. But you do have a lot of people that go, why does he think this? I want to see the evidence that he has to support as to why it's fake, and people start researching it, and then they start realizing that it's just a lie.
Probably more than any other NBA player. They relate to him. He's not so big. He's not the fastest. He just is talented and works hard and is a great teammate. And I could be like that. They really love Steph. And he's a role model as a result of that. And that's just irresponsible. Like, to feed into those kind of, like when Kyrie Irving said he thought the earth was flat. I mean, that's the dumbest thing a public figure has said in my lifetime. Maybe it's one of them. But Steph Curry not believing in the moon landing, it's not like that, but it's in the same vein. It's like, here's the issue with how much information we have access to now because of the internet. It's great we have access to information, but how do you vet the information? How can you tell the high quality information from the low quality information?
How do you tell the low quality information from the high quality? The thing is, you just got to do your research. I would imagine that Steph Curry has done a lot more research than this guy has. I would think that this guy is just saying it's ridiculous that Steph Curry thinks the moon landing was fake because he was told by his professor once that man has been to the moon. And Steph Curry, I think, has actually been researching this, looking into it, studying off of NASA, and realized, like, even look at this header. Steph Curry denies moon landing. Like, that's just a name-calling tactic. Steph Curry denies moon landing. Like, you're just name-calling him. You're putting him into a box.
Information. The reason foreign governments can interfere in our politics is because way too many people have moved away from fact-based, evidence and toward nonsense and conspiracy theories. And so they're easily manipulated. This is a crisis in the world. Populism is.
We're going to talk about facts. Like, we're not going to talk about the fact that no person has been on the moon in 50 years. 50 years? Guys, really? We're not going to talk about how NASA destroyed all the technology to go to the moon. We're not going to talk about how NASA destroyed all the moon landing tapes, not just of Apollo 11, but all the way through 17. We're not going to talk about how the moon rocks were fake. We're not going to talk about how astronauts punch people in the face when asked to swear on the Bible. We're not going to talk about how the lunar lander literally looks like a grade 8 science project. We're not going to talk about how when the lunar lander landed on the moon, that there's literally no crater. It left no mark on the moon. We're not going to talk about how there was any dust or any piece of the moon that got stuck to the lunar lander when it landed. Like, it literally looks like it was just placed there. God, it's sad.
On the rise in the world. Partly it's because of the access to information without the ability to vet it. So when a role model like Steph Curry, I know it seems like I'm making too big a deal out of it.
You are.
Says something as monumentally stupid as he thinks we never landed on the moon.
Have you seen any of the evidence to support that we haven't been to the moon? Because there's a lot of evidence out there that the mainstream will not show you. This guy obviously hasn't done his research.
Kids are watching that. They're listening to that.
And good for them. Kids should look up the moon landing. It's suspicious as hell.
It's a scary indication of where we are. And I don't think it's funny. I really don't think it's funny.
That's
it's
sad.
not a
I'm
matter
sorry
of
for
it
you.
being funny. I think that you're missing the point here. You're not wrong in terms of, the facts of it all. 50 years ago, it happened. I believe it happened. You believe it happened. Of course we believe it happened. Okay, does it happen? Well, no.
Yeah.
The reason why I put it that way is because you refuse to appreciate the fact that in our society, there are people, no matter how many facts you point in their face.
What facts? Are you gonna show like the pictures of the moon where you can? Okay, guys, like here's the thing. You can take photographs from NASA of the moon landings, the ones that they give us. Like for example, you can take I can't remember what the photo is called, but it's the iconic photo where it's the astronaut on the moon, and in the background is a tiny little Earth. Now the thing is, if you take this photo and put it into Photoshop and you mess around with the settings, I can't remember which settings it is. Maybe it's like saturation or something, and turn it up all the way, you can see the square of the Earth in the background. Like you can see that somebody put an Earth into the background. Like it's painfully obvious that the photos were fake. You're not a conspiracy theorist at this point. Like at what point are people going to just wake up and be like, holy crap, the photos were faked? Because they were faked. Like there's evidence out there that shows that they're fake, but people don't want to see it. People just love the moon. They're married to the moon. They just want to believe it so bad. It's like, guys, we didn't go. It's crazy.
They don't believe it because they think you talk about, high quality information and the matter in which you gathered that information. There are people, Max Kellerman, that are standing right in front of your face and will tell you in the face of fact, hell no, it ain't happened. Ain't happened because they don't trust anything that is associated with our government, with our nations, with various nations throughout this world. There are people who think like that. Just like what it said, like NASA said, not only have we been on the moon, okay, and we got hundreds of pounds of rocks.
The rocks were all fake. Rocks were either fake or they've all gone missing. Interesting.
To show that we were on the moon, we plan on going back, and this time we're going to be in a position to ultimately stay. These are the.
Are we gonna go back? Because we haven't been back in 50 years, but I would love to go back. I think that's super interesting. But I'm just surprised that no one's been back in 50 years. Like if science has progressed so much, I think it's a little suspicious that we haven't been back to the moon.
On the things that they're saying, what does Steph Curry allude to? Nope, don't believe that either. Now, in the age of technology and us seeing how advanced our society has become, of course you feel differently, Max. Of course I feel different.
Here's the thing. If our society is so advanced, how come we can't go to the moon right now? The leading astronauts from NASA has literally said that they destroyed the technology and it's too painful of a process to recreate it. So how is it that in 1969 we could go to the moon, but in almost the year 2020 we cannot go to the moon? I just think that's interesting.
But there are people out there who attach conspiracy theories to everything. And I don't want to get into the details in terms of what they've been suspicious about in terms of things that have happened in our nation. It's unfortunate, but it's a reality that's inescapable. People do that all the time. And I think it's at that particular moment in time that we hearken back to what Charles Barkley said. When he said that he's not a role model, I am not a role model, he should not have said that. And I don't ever think that he meant it literally. What he's saying is that the obligation and the onus ultimately falls on your parents and what have you, because you got to know who not to listen to about certain situations.
I am not claiming that what you're saying isn't true, that there are people who their nature is contrary. And they're extremely suspicious, and it's good to be cynical about things. That's not a problem. The problem is the rejection of facts.
The rejection of facts, really? What facts do you have? The technology was destroyed. The moon landing tapes were destroyed. What facts are you talking about?
When a public figure rejects facts on the basis of like drivel on the internet or some friend whispering in their ear about some government conspiracy.
Yeah, maybe it was a friend talking in his ear, or maybe there's just this vast array of information about how the moon landing was faked, and nobody wants to research it because the mainstream will not tell you about it.
With zero actual research with any high quality information.
Right.
when that is uttered publicly, it is incumbent upon the Fourth Estate, you and I, to castigate, to say that is, not mince words, Steph, that is a stupid comment.
You're a stupid comment. Don't you have like basketball or something to commentate about? Like, why are we talking about Steph Curry and the moon landing? Like, talk about basketball. Steph Curry can think about whatever the hell he wants. Why do we care if Steph Curry thinks the moon landing is real or not, or if Kyrie Irving thinks the Earth is flat? Like, who cares? They're basketball players. They can think whatever the hell they want.
Don't say it again.
It's ridiculous.
Go read a book, an actual.
You go read a book, idiot.
That's what we have to do.
That's fair. I'm not going to refute what you're saying there. I'm simply saying that, are you really, meaning a Steph or somebody else?
Yes.
Are you really questioning the facts per se?
What facts do you
because
have?
You just don't believe it? Or are you questioning the veracity of individuals or organizations who may come forward?
What I'm saying is, that's fine.
There are people who feel that way.
I am glad that Kyrie and
saying.
Steph and others have curious and cynical minds. That's part of like the scientific process, in fact. But when you then reject facts.
What facts? You can poke holes into all of the evidence that NASA gives us. Why is that? It doesn't make sense, man.
And go on your own wishful thinking and wide-eyed conspiracy theories, it's detrimental to society.
So at what point are you going to start calling things conspiracy theories and just start waking up to what's actually going on around you?
When you are in a public position and you utter it.
Can I say one thing? Could they possibly just be joking?
Hope so.
Yeah.
Well, the other
Could
thing,
it maybe not be that deep or
Hey,
that
well,
serious?
guys, don't mansplain.
The other thing about it is this: where we being unfair to Steph Curry in this particular situation. You're on a podcast and somebody makes some flippant comment and you ask what you believe in. It's not like he researched it and said these are the facts and I'm ignoring them.
Well, it's probably that he did his research and then he looked at the facts that NASA gave us and goes, holy crap, this is so fake. And then he realized that we never been to the moon. Like most people that actually research the moon landing.
You understand? In other words, he just tweeted, or I guess that was a tweet that we showed where he's talking about he's spoken to some folks from NASA. They've reached out to him, and now he's going to become more informed about it, and then, he'll express himself then. I'm just saying that him making a flippant comment and being suspicious about something, I don't think it warrants that reaction is all I'm saying.
Steph grew up with lots of resources available to him in a well-to-do family.
Doesn't matter. You care about what you care about.
He has traveled internationally. He's obviously bright. He went to college.
You care about what you care about.
He cannot think we didn't land on the moon.
He might just be
I
joking.
hope so.
Might
In
just be
that
having
case,
a little.
It's crazy, man. I just think it's all very interesting.